Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, it's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. You know what that means? It's time for Ask Engineer. With me, Lady Ada the Engineer, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control, and the third person, individual in our video, which is Adafruit, the character, the space, all behind us. This is the factory where we design, test, produce, manufacture, document, photo, video, and all the other good stuff that we do, and put content online and products online. If you are using Adafruit stuff, this is where it gets made, here in downtown Manhattan. But it's quiet right now because it's going to be a 1-hour show full of all the crafting, making, hacking that's going around the internet and the world. We're going to bring it to you in a fast-paced 1-hour video coming to you live. What's on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, the code is Bubbles. 10% off the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Use that to get 10% off everything except for AdaBox and gift certificates. It supports us, an open source hardware company here in New York City. These are the folks that you help and support when you purchase something. Please do it. Show and tell people around the world showing their projects. Lady Ada will show and share what she saw on tonight's show and tell. Back to Mailbag will stop by, read your emails and letters to us. Time travel. Look around the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, news, and more. In New York City, some factory footage from the Adafruit team, and more. 3D printing, some videos from Noah and Pedro. We got a bunch of new products. We have 2 super cool new top secret things to show you. We'll answer your questions, and we'll do that over on Discord. So if you want to start hanging out now, go over to adafruit.it/Discord. adafruit.it/Discord. That is where we answer the questions at the end. We'll give something away, all that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Yay!
All right,
We're here.
Yeah, let's pay some bills. So we get some free stuff when you add stuff to your cart. In addition to that great discount code Bubbles, which saves you 10% off, you get free stuff.
Let me tell you about that free
What are
stuff.
the free things?
Thank you. $99 or more, you get a free permaproto half-size breadboard. Very handy for taking your projects from a half-size breadboard and making them permanent. You can solder to it. It's a nice high-quality PCB with multicolor silkscreen and gold-plated pads. People love them. That's why we give them away. $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental U.S. If you're in continental United States and you order $200, you'll get free shipping with tracking and insurance, and you know you're going to get it. It's going to show up when they say they're going to show up. It's pretty sweet, and it's our recommended way to get free shipping. We don't do the cheap stuff here. We do it right. And then $299 or more, you'll get a free Circuit Playground Express, a premier all-in-one development and learning board. You can program it with MakeCode, with CircuitPython, with code.org CS discoveries. You can use it with Arduino. It's kind of everything and all things, and we have like hundreds of projects that you can build with it. It's great from everybody, from beginners to experts, and you'll get that free. And of course, at every level, you get all the previous free stuff as well. So you can't really go wrong here.
Okay. And the form of shipping we have UPS, Postal, and DHL. UPS, that's for US, best way, trackable. Postal, it might disappear, it might take a little bit longer. That's how Postal works. And DHL, that's best for international. Same day shipping. If you're in New York City and check out before 11 a.m., you have the same day in New York City.
And that's the only way you can get stuff same day. We don't do pickup, so you have to use that.
Show and tell people around the world, sharing the projects, our favorite half hour every single week. Lady Ada, who was on the show and tell? What they show?
Well, we had a whole bunch of people. Thanks to everyone who came by. It was a party. We had Erin, who does all sorts of cool, creative, wearable cosplay stuff, and she showed off an upcoming project. It's a Cricut and Circuit Playground Express Medusa hat, and it's got these servos with snakes on them, and so it's like this snake, all these little snakes coming out of her head, and then some of them are kind of moving around and looking, and she showed the techniques she used to make them light up. So it's going to be an upcoming project. She's got 2 or 3 really great projects that are going to be coming out soon. John Park showed off last week's guide project that he came out with on Friday, the Operation game. Using AdaBot, Circuit Playground Express, and Capacitive Touch, you can make your very own version of that old Operations game, but this time you get to make a custom character, and you can cut everything out of cardboard, and you don't have to live in the 80s. He also previewed this week's project, which he's going to be showing on the live stream tomorrow, as well as a guide on Friday. It's a light painter using CircuitPython. We can never have too many light painters, but this is the easiest one ever, and it looks cool. He's going to show off his techniques and some great graphics for a Halloween-themed light painting expedition. Brennan, who does web dev and creative engineering here, is going to some outdoor festivals on bicycles, and he wants to keep track of all the people because they're going to get lost in this gigantic desert that is the mind. So each person is going to get on their bicycle a Feather M4, a LoRa feather wing, a GPS feather wing, and a little compass module. And a NeoPixel ring is going to show where all three people are. So you'll see little LEDs that blink in the direction. The compass is going to tell you which way you're oriented, and then the GPS and the LoRa is going to communicate with all three people where they are. And LoRa is going to work really great in the Playa. It's flat, large, nothing. There's stuff in the way, but in the middle, it's very flat, and so there's going to be good line of sight to get all that LoRa data moving around. It has a couple mile distance for something that big and flat. So I think that'll be a really cool project. He's going to document that as well when he returns. Nan Pedro showed off this week's project, a Gmail box. We'll have a video about that. A cute IoT project that is simple. It does one thing and it does one thing well. And Scott showed off an old computer. Phil B is taking a break from showing off old computers, and Scott just jumped right in and took over with an Atari 800. It's got like 10 pounds of cast aluminum in it. Why? I have no idea, but it does. It's hefty, it's indestructible, they'll last forever. It's got 2 cartridge slots and you only need one. And it's got 16K of RAM, and it's epic. So check out the Atari 800. Maybe he's going to make it CircuitPython running. And then Dan, who also works on CircuitPython, unexpectedly showed up, but had some pretty cool things to display also. I guess we've unlocked the old computer and technology Pandora box. He came by with a Fortran book and a Motorola RTL book, and all sorts of just like really old electronics. The Fortran book was actually used by his mother, who was a physicist, and then she handed it down to him.
Yeah.
Like a sword, a Fortran or something. I don't know.
I'll say this. I think one of the reasons Adafruit is successful, and there's people who gravitate towards Adafruit, is they have an appreciation, respect, and love of retro hardware, which is microcontrollers. Like, you had to do so much with so little.
No, you were peeking and poking. It's no different than what we're doing now.
You had to do so much with so little, and you just appreciated all the thought that went into it and optimization. And I think that's just a common thread across all the people in the community, and then also the team members that are just like, how can we make it better? How can we make it more optimized? How can we do more with less? Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that we've seen, and probably why we've been able to have like bootloaders fit on some chips that even modern chips it was hard to do.
No, I mean it's Scott's been working on compressing, doing Huffman compression on all the strings. I mean, and then like run length encoding. It's like we're really just not inventing anything new. We're just applying it into smaller, cheaper, and more portable stuff. Just LEDs aren't $3 a piece now. So
I think you can throw like a high-end, crazy PC type thing, and like that's modern graphics and computers. Like that's always, you can always do that now. Yeah. But the constraints that we have and used to have on microcontrollers, you get really creative. It's like this is the only thing you can do.
No, the Atari 800 had 16K of RAM, and guess how much RAM SAMD21 has? 32. So that's not that much more. It's twice as much, but it's you're working with the same. You get a bigger processor, but you're still thinking about each byte. You have to be careful. You can't just do whatever you want, like as you do on a modern computer. It makes you a little bit more thoughtful.
It's all about battery and IoT and small devices that last forever. So if you did microcontrollers or retro computing in the past, it's probably a good time to start right back up. Okay.
Especially with all the people doing emulators. Okay, we had some more people. We're not done. Yep. So after this epic multi-generational Fortran book, hopefully he'll pass on to the next generation, Sean came by with a laser cut NeoPixel segment. He showed off a previous iteration and then showed off he wanted to make a lower cost version, so he's using diffusive laser cut pieces for a 7 and 14 segment. He's got it with a trinket showing up some numbers and letters, so it's making good progress. Jay came by with a pretty cool project. This is Demorsify. It detects Morse code over the microphone, shows a waterfall display with the dits and das, and then decodes it and displays it on a character LCD. A really cool project, a really excellent job. I mean, to take it to the microphone level, most people are like, oh, I'll just have a button or something, but to take audio and then decode the audio, that's much tougher.
Yeah, real-time decoding. You can see
Yeah.
the Morse code.
Yeah.
And then it would spell it to text. Beautiful project.
Beautiful. And it's apparently 1,000 iterations, but
Yeah.
each one was worth it.
Or dash
And
dot dot dash dash dash.
dash dash dot. And then JMK came by, showed off a couple cables and things hanging out on his desk, and also he got the AdaBox 008 and is building a Cricket bot, and then found an iPhone under a couch, and so that makes it a free iPhone. So he plugged it in, and it's going to be what'd you call it? It was a remote
Telepresence robot.
with a camera, and he's got it moving, and it's got stickers on it, and it's a really cool robot with big chunky wheels. So that's a cool project. So that's what we had on Show and Tell. If that sounds cool to you, why don't you come by next week? It's every week,
All
7:30.
participants on the Show and Tell get an as seen on the Show and Tell sticker. Just email support@adafruit.com and we'll send you out one. It is part of our Adafruit live series of shows. Tomorrow, JP's show. Don't forget to watch it. And we have a couple highlights. I'm going to show them one after the other. Make sure we get to all the videos and more in the show tonight. JP's video from last week and then a preview for this week is the operation game and then the light painting. So take it away. Alright, back to Mailbag is stopping by every single week. We have an all-company meeting called State of the Fruit, but we also read these here when you email us. Hello, just a quick thank you for sending out a pretty complicated 4 pages in total order and nailing it perfectly. I was quite impressed with the speed it arrived as well. Sincerely, Dan.
Thank you for your order, Dan.
Okay.
We're glad.
Don't forget we're answering questions in adafruit.it/discord at the end of the show, and you can also show up there at any time. You can also say nice things to the community, and you can hang out there 24/7, and that's where the community helps each other with projects and more.
Okay.
Make code. Also on JP's show, we have a Make Code Minute, and I've been playing these in the show each week. And if you go to makecode.adafruit.com and you have something like Circuit Playground Express, you can right away start dragging and dropping blocks or using JavaScript. And here's one of the projects that JP showed last week.
That's right. It's the Make Code Minute. For today's Make Code Minute, what we're going to talk about is using the light sensor that's built right onto the Circuit Playground Express with Make Code. So if you look at my code here, I just have a single loop running. This is the forever loop. And in it, I am setting a variable that I've created called light to be equal to the light level. And if we look on the inputs, is that right? Light level, there you go. Light level is one of the inputs. So this brings in the raw value of the light sensor. And then I have a variable called pixel, which I am using this math function that's called map to remap whatever that light level number is. And I tested my values. I'm getting around 0 to 100 and something from darkish to brightish in this setting. And I'm going to remap those values to 0 to 9. Then I'm going to set my neopixels to be read at whatever number value we're getting from this remapping. So from 0 to 100 goes from 0 to 9 on the pixels, and then I clear that so that we don't leave behind a trail and we move. So it's like a little meter, and if you watch on my side here, as I put my hand in the way, I am darkening the meter and it's going down to 0 and up to almost 9. I'm actually going to get out a little flashlight. And now you can see as I point that flashlight, I can move the VU meter up and down by measuring and remapping the light sensor value. And that is one way to use the light sensor in Make Code on the Circuit Playground Express.
Okay, and we have a bunch of stuff going on in the world of CircuitPython Code Plus community. That's what we call it. Lady Ada, we just put out the newsletter, and
How many subscribers do we have, by the way? I was just wondering what the number.
2,999.
2,999. So if one person joins today, right
Yeah,
now,
go to
they would be
Adafruit Daily
3,000?
and sign up for it. So we have even.
Come on, 2,999 has to be 3,000.
Yeah, so adafruitdaily.com and
Yeah.
sign up for Python and microcontrollers. But anyways, we now have 90 total CircuitPython for Raspberry Pi updated tutorials, right?
It's
Or
we're
library, sorry. Like
we're there's 90 total. I think we're halfway through.
Yeah.
I want to be careful because it's
there's
like
like
there's a
60.
lot.
Like there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's
yeah.
a lot. We're posting up 5 a day, and we've got actually a bunch of posts already scheduled for the next 2 weeks. So we've been doing a massive project. This was headed up by Katney, who is does a lot of coding in community in the CircuitPython world here, and she's an Adafruit peep. And she's on a well-deserved break right now because it's summer. After doing like 45 guides in a row, they've all been updated to run CircuitPython on the Raspberry Pi. So using some code by Sefin, who we hired to do this micropython compatibility layer, I took that code and adapted to Raspberry Pi so you can run our CircuitPython drivers and example code on a Raspberry Pi, and it's basically just like a gigantic microcontroller with all these pins. And so all of our I2C sensors, SPI sensors, UART devices, GPIO pins, you can now use them as if it were just a CircuitPython board. You're still running Python, but as far as Python knows, it has access to all the CircuitPython API, like Digital I/O and Bus I/O, and again, like the I2C and SPI. And so what this means is it's unlocked all of our drivers. So historically, we've had a couple of Python drivers and then CircuitPython drivers, and now we only need to have CircuitPython drivers because they'll work on the Raspberry Pi, and then we'll add other Linux devices like BeagleBone or Onion or what have you. There's an infinite number of Linux devices with different pinouts and everything. We don't have to keep rewriting the TSL2561 library or the BNO055 library. That's done. That code is solid, and all the examples work. It's just a matter of now testing them against the Raspberry Pi. We've done that. So if you wanted to use some of our sensors that historically we haven't had Raspberry Pi code for, you can now use them. Pretty much everything. I think we only found 4 or 5 sensors that don't have CircuitPython drivers for them. Just about everything else does. Motion, temperature, humidity, thermal printers, air quality sensors, motor drivers, all that stuff. If you have a Raspberry Pi and you want to do that, try it out. It's really well documented. It's extremely consistent. So we don't have to worry about maintaining 2 different Python-like things. We're now just moving only to MicroPython, CircuitPython, which is a derivative of MicroPython. And we've been posting up in the newsletter all the guides as we've done them, and we're going to take a break for a couple weeks. And then we're going to get back into it. If there's guides or libraries that you'd really like to see, open up an issue on the GitHub CircuitPython repo and say,
also,
hey, and we'll prioritize them. We want to know what people are looking for.
People immediately started using the libraries on their Raspberry Pis, which is usually hard to do a lot of physical computing with, hardware sensors.
There's not a lot of great, I'll say there's not, there are some companies do excellent job, but because we haven't done a lot of them, like there isn't a gigantic good collection of good Python libraries for sensors.
So check them out, and when you make a project, let us know, because we want to get the word out that there's a lot of things that you can now do in Python, CircuitPython on Raspberry Pi that you couldn't do before.
Yeah, and check out Brent. We'll talk about Brent. Rubel did a guide with Adafruit I/O and CircuitPython, adding 4 sensors to a Raspberry Pi Zero. It's like a barometric pressure, temperature, humidity, air quality, UV, all these things that would be really hard to do, again, if you had to write all the code from hand or adapt C++ code. But with CircuitPython, it was just pip install, and it just worked. So it's pretty exciting. I've been trying to get to this for like a year, and we're finally at that stability point where we can do it. And if you are a expert at a particular Linux board, if you're like, I love the Onion, Banana, Orange board, and you would like to add support, it's actually pretty easy. You just have to make a list of all the GPIO pins, and what peripherals I have, I2C and SPI. Open up an issue and I'll help you out, and we'll get your favorite Linux device added as a support, and it'll be, you'll unlock basically 90 different drivers. And
We got a bunch ahead, but this is a good question.
Yeah.
What are any learnings from converting the libraries over? Like, what do you have? Like a couple, like, oh wow, that was interesting, or
I did learn
words of wisdom.
I did learn a couple things. Well, a lot of things we did right, which is good. One of the things that we did really well is because we had so much experience, and Scott, who kind of architected the drivers, he did a lot of that the overall design like 2 years ago, and also like chatted with other people who were using CircuitPython. We came up with an API that was, which I really like. Like everything that was weird, we got. Like it's really easy to be like, oh, I made an I2C API. It's really hard to be like, and my API manages repeated start, and it manages like, clock stretching, and it manages all these other unusual things and like ways that devices work. Like I've just had to write Arduino drivers for so many bizarre implementations of I2C that I know what is going to bite us, and so we did a really good job with that. I did find some parts where we did stuff that CircuitPython lets you do that CPython is a little bit more strict, which is good. It means that our code has become more strict. We're also going to update our UART API to be more PySerial-like. It's very, very close, but we're going to make it even closer so that people can't write code. We're going to make it so you can't write code on one platform, CircuitPython, that wouldn't work on CPython. So making it much, much closer is something that we're working on. But I'm just excited to deprecate all of these old Python libraries that we wrote, and they work, but they're just not continuously maintained because we've been focusing so much on CircuitPython. So now we'll be able to take all that attention, love that we've put on Blinka and put it also on Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
So I think that'll be exciting.
That was some learnings.
I know, there's a lot, but it's a massive project.
Okay.
I've been doing it full time for like 3 weeks.
That's right. Okay. So anyhow, time travel. Look in the world, makers, hackers, artists, engineers. 1888.
What happened then?
Well, William Seward Burroughs patents the first working adding machine in the United States.
Oh, cool.
Now, here's another fun
Let's
thing.
get CircuitPython on it.
We can get CircuitPython on it. Beginning in the 1800s, Burroughs was advised by a doctor to move to an area with a warmer climate, so he moved to St. Louis, where he obtained a job in the boiler machine shop. These new surroundings appealed to him more, and anyways, a long story short, he decided to make a calculating machine. First patent was filed in 1885, designed to ease the monotony of clerical work. In case that name sounds familiar, he was the grandfather of William S. Burroughs.
And also the Burroughs Corporation, which manufactured early computers. So I guess it explains a lot about technology. I don't know. I don't know if we can really. I don't know if I really want to extrapolate from that.
Okay. Next up, I think I showed this last week, but this was this is the magazine that you're in. It's on newsstands, and also you could subscribe to it. It's S'more. We'll have it in the store soon, but now I have a physical copy, so you can show. If you back out the thing, just show it real quick because they had they did an interview with you, and they did a really good multi-page spread about Adafruit.
Hold on, I don't know where it is.
I think
Ooh,
it was,
look, brain controlled robot.
I don't know if it was. I think it's in the beginning.
I think it's actually the beginning. Sorry.
I think you skipped. I think you skipped your section.
Yeah.
So there you are.
Hi.
So really neat magazine. It's for all kids, but it's especially for young girls who want to get into science and engineering.
They decided to take the photo of my super lucky 40-pin FPC to breadboard adapter plate. It's the luckiest multi-pitch FPC adapter plate. Yeah. Believe me, this was a very old product, but I used the heck out of it to get all my OLEDs in the store.
Yep. So there you go.
Cool.
Sounds like a girl. Okay.
And it's a great magazine. I love it. It's beautiful. And it's what I like about it is it's not dated. Like there's nothing in it that's like, oh, go right now to a website. It's just like general purpose scientific physics, chemistry, biology knowledge that you can read this years from now or years ago and it's still useful information.
Yep.
I think a lot of magazines are very like, last week, here's a thing that happened, and it's not going to be relevant after this week.
Okay.
And that's not true of this.
Also, if you go to the Apple App Store and search for Adafruit, you'll see that we have our Adafruit AR app. So you have an iPhone or iPad, and you can do some cool AR stuff. Here is a video of some of the AR stuff that we just added to it. We've been updating the app every couple weeks, so do check it out. And when I can narrate this a little bit.
Yeah, so
this is when you tap it and the letters come out.
and then
It plays A through Z of electronics. So it's playing music in the background right now, but you get the point.
yeah, so you can play videos. I mean, they are, but it's like you can interact with them.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you have an AdaBot friend.
Yeah. Okay. Open source hardware. We're an open source hardware company, Lady Ada.
Oh
we
boy,
have
are we ever.
1,548 guides. What's on the big board this week?
Okay. So last week we ended up, because we had that Halloween guide, which was last week's new product, and
Yep.
we're going to be making more of those. We've got this awesome guide from Brent. It's a 2-in-1 Adafruit IO environmental monitor. So you can do it with a Feather and Arduino ESP8266, or you can do it with a Raspberry Pi Zero W. And again, our new ready to go CircuitPython libraries for Raspberry Pi. So it was really easy for him to add 4 different or 5 different sensing elements in like 2 minutes of work just using our CircuitPython code and the great Adafruit IO Python library. So also check out, there's new cool blocks for Adafruit IO. We've got these really nice big icons, so you can have your blocks look, they can have iconography that goes with them. You got that Circuit Playground Express automatic sunglasses, make it switch. And then new this week, the AdaBot operation game, which you saw that 30-minute clip from JP.
Yeah, I'm going to just show a little clip, an additional one.
Ooh, get the wrench. Battery. Tricky, not easy, but what's nice is it's a fully papercraft project. You can use our shipping boxes. This is a good size box, and then you print out a color image and then use a little conductive tape. And what's even nicer is if you have metal tweezers, we can use the capacitive touch built into Circuit Playground Express. So you don't need to have a wire connected to the tweezer. You can use any metal tweezers that you've got around the house. So make that challenging. The Gmail box will show the little video for that. Here's a short demo. It's an Adafruit IO controlled with a Feather Huzzah mailbox, and you can make it do anything, but for our demo we showed it going up when you get mail. We've got Make It Bubble, which is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a little Cricut robot that will make bubbles for you.
Yeah, and this is the very easy basic one. When we first started experimenting with Cricut, this is the one that I made. I was projecting on a balloon and everything, so I wanted to show this is like hour 1 of Cricut. I'm just like, this is the first project.
This was the first project we did.
I think it was, yeah.
It was like hand coded.
All right.
So make a bubble, and it shows in both MakeCode and CircuitPython how you can make a little bubble blowing machine. A really great first robot friend. And then this new guy from David Style is just hilarious. It's little perky up ears that when it hears a sound, the ears go up. And what I love is the dog is hanging out.
Like,
and he's like, oh, you're like me now.
What?
So these little ears have, there's servo and a rubber band and some cardboard. And this is showing with some felt on it. And then Dave's going to maybe make one with fur as well to take another video, because we thought that would be hilarious. But it really good for cosplay if you have cat ears or dog ears and you want them to flick up and react to sound. I think it's this adorable little cosplay project. Goes really well with the automatic sunglasses from last week. So I expect to see versions of this appear in multiple cosplay projects soon, especially with how easy it is to do with CircuitPython.
Yep. Okay, so I'm in New York City, factory footage, take it away, us. Okay, and we have some photos and videos that don't have sound. So this is the worst pinkberry flavor ever. No, this is
This is a solder paste.
this is solder paste. So this video doesn't have any sound. But this is what the solder
Okay.
paste looks like on.
This always is
Our
fun.
robot
So what
friend,
you're
yeah.
seeing here is it's actually doing the vision check, and it checks all the fiducials and makes sure that the stencil's clean before it does this squeegee of a perfect roll of solder paste. And a lot of people don't know, but the solder paste step is actually the most important step. If you get this wrong, everything else doesn't quite work out. So getting this part right is important for yield.
This is us with the new hull wing and doing some tests with the eyeball.
Oh yeah, that looks great. Yeah, head on looks best.
This was a tester race. Reset, go.
Who can test this? This is Fona shield testers, but we put the SIM card in, we attach the headphone. There's like so many steps. And then you clamp it down, and then it performs the test.
And these are some PCB samples that we got.
Yeah, so we're using a different PCB manufacturer right now, and this one will do a cross-sample check. I don't think we really need this. We might tell them, hey, we don't need this, but it's kind of cool. We get these little cubes with a cutout, and you can see the vias to make sure they're soldered all the way through, which we've had problems with some suppliers before.
And this is what the pick a place to fall asleep to or wake up to every night. Okay.
Lovely, very cloudy lately.
Big-
A lot of clouds.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Big news in the world of Adafruit IO. So Internet of Things is complicated and hard. We're doing a series of videos with DigiKey. We're going to resume those soon because we needed to get a bunch of other stuff done with IO to make sure it was easy for people before we say, look how easy it is. So one of the things like, oh, what does Adafruit IO do? What does Adafruit IO do? We have a video now.
Okay.
So here we go. We have a video about what is Internet of Things, what's Adafruit IO, what you can do with it. We done. Here it is.
Do you have an electronics project which you'd like to connect to the internet? Adafruit IO is the Internet of Things for everyone, giving you the easiest way to stream, log, and interact with your data and devices. Getting started with Adafruit IO is easy. We provide simple libraries designed to work with the most popular Internet-enabled devices, such as the Adafruit Feather, ESP8266, Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and more. Design custom dashboards using charts, gauges, and controls to visualize all your data and send commands to your project over the internet. You can push send and pull receive data in an instant. Adafruit IO also integrates with web services such as If This Then That and Zapier, so you can send notifications to and from your project using Twitter, email, SMS, Amazon Alexa, Google services, and more. Adafruit IO's basic service is free to use. When you're ready to power up, you can upgrade to IO Plus for more data throughput, unlimited dashboards, and unlimited feeds. Visit adafruit.io and start building your own Internet of Things project today.
That was what IoT is. We're done.
Yay.
No need to explain it to anyone
We're
anymore.
done.
Here you go. Here's a video.
Okay, but here's another video.
Yeah. All right.
For 3D.
3D printing. We're going to show two videos. One is the IoT Gmail box, and then we have a speed up.
Okay.
Here we go.
More IoT.
don't forget No Page 3D Hangouts every single Wednesday. Late data before we do new products, a couple of reminders. One. It's Bubbles, 10% off in Adafruit Store up to 11:59 p.m. And if you have an Adafruit account, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. That's the only newsletter. We don't auto-subscribe. You have to go into your Adafruit account.
It's hard.
Click and then sign up. Okay, ready?
Yep. New, 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 new.
All right. Okay.
It's new time.
Let's start. So we got some wires.
Okay, but these are really exciting wires. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's asked for this, and I finally found a place that makes some good ribbon cables that are made with silicone-covered wires. So people who really like our silicone wires, and y'all all do, because if you've used these silicone wires after using PVC wires, you're never going to go back. We now have them in ribbon format.
Okay,
So we've got.
Just go through the different
Yeah,
ones?
you just go through them. We basically have a bunch of 4-wire and 26, 28, and 30 gauge. And then we also, I think it's the 28 gauge that we have 10 wires. And I'll show one under the.
Yeah, so here, these are just a bunch.
They're just a bunch. They all look kind of the same, but they're 1 meter long. They're silicone. They're super, squishy and flexible. And you can solder to them without the sheathing peeling back or melting or getting damaged. The 30 gauge in particular is excellent for wearables where you want to pass like a NeoPixel or dot star signal around. We had to pick like how many wires do you want, and it's just a trade-off between price and number of wires. We thought 4 is a good range. So this is, the ribbon, and this is, I think, the 26 gauge. And of course, you can peel them apart very easily and then strip the wires. So this is, I think, the 26, and then this is the 28. So you can see there is a difference between the thicker and the thinner. And then let me grab the 30. I think the 30 is going to be the most popular, but hold on. This is the 28 gauge 10 wire. So we only got one strip with 10 wires on it. And of course you can like peel this into like 2 or 3 or whatever number of wires you want. And then finally, this is the 30 gauge, which is like just super nice. It's this very thin ribbon. It's very flexible, and of course you can peel the wires off if necessary for whatever project. So I think this will be popular. Instead of having multiple silicone wires, you could just have this ribbon, and then pin 1 is marked with a white dash.
Okay.
That's the
More
silicone ribbon wires.
More wires.
Okay, more wires coming your way. We now have also some JST cables. These are just handy because we see a lot of boards have a JST 3-pin connector, and we wanted to have a cable that plugs into it. We thought in particular that these were useful for people who had the Halloween. JP's going to do a project that shows plugging these cables into the ports on the Halloween and then connecting that to a sensor or LEDs or whatever. And likewise, coming soon, we have a NeoPixel strip as well.
Okay.
That has, they're kind of all the same because they all plug into the same port. So this is a 30 LED, half-meter long NeoPixel strip with a JST connector on the end. And I'll show this with the Halloween to demonstrate how all these are supposed to work. Because what's nice is it's supposed to be plug and play. I wanted to make the Halloween really easy to use. So you got these ports on the side, and this one says NeoPixel, and you just plug this in, and like you're done. Like there's no wiring, there's no soldering, there's not even alligator clips. And then if you want to connect a sensor or something to the other port, you can plug that in here. And then now you've got power, ground, and signal. So
Just plug those into the pins.
Huh?
Just put those right into the pins.
Yeah, you just plug these in. So
Super
there's
easy.
a socket and male, so you can do this for a breadboard or something with female sockets. And this, of course, you can plug something directly in if you have like a temperature sensor or potentiometer. And this is a NeoPixel, so you can just NeoPixel it up. So very easy way to update your little Halloween badge with some accessories. And I think as we do other boards that we want to make really simple, we'll just keep the same pin out so you can cross-use all the components from one to the other.
Okay. Next up.
This is some more robotic stuff. This one, I gotta admit, this is not the most perfect thing. Usually when I stock up something, it's like awesome and perfect. This one's a little odd. It's a clip-on for TT motors that's Lego compatible, but the weird thing about it is it has bumps on both sides. That said, it does work with Lego, and like I built this wall and I plugged this in, and it's now a TT motor with this little clip on it. There's screws that you can make to permanently attach it, but I didn't leave this on. And then you can connect it onto this like wall that I made out of some Lego pieces. So the only thing that's unusual is that there's bumps on both sides. Again, I don't know why they designed it this way, and I think if I had it say in the design, I would have had bumps on one side and then holes on the other. We might just make our own version, but until then, this is what we got. So this is kind of the closest I could find to a TT motor Lego adapter. We also have the adapter separately that plugs into TT motors that turns it into a Lego axle for use with Lego Technics. So between these two things, maybe it can uncover some projects that people have been wanting to build. I think this is an inexpensive addition. So as long as you're aware that it's got bumps on both sides and you go on at it with open eyes, I think this could be a very useful robotics addition.
Okay. Next up.
This is a very eccentric product. This is an eccentric wheel. We've had a lot of wheels for TT motors or these gearbox motors that are symmetric. They're wheels and they go round and round all the way perfectly circularly. And this is just looks like what it is. It's a little add-on with slots in it, and it doesn't rotate symmetrically. It's like a cam or an eccentric motion device. Useful for some cam projects. Whenever you have motion, maybe you want to have something that is not symmetric. It's unusual to find these, so I thought I'd pick one up, and maybe you'll find it useful for your project. So we're kind of getting into the weirder robotics and electronic parts now. Next up, an electromagnet. So we have a couple different sizes, and this is the first one. We did a couple electromagnet projects with Cricut as we were designing it, and I was like, you know what? It is actually pretty hard to find electromagnets that are 5 volt and easy to use. So this is a 5 volt electromagnet. I just want to give one warning. Electromagnets are spec'd with kilogram holding force. So I think this is a 2.5 kilogram holding force. It's not printed on it, but it's printed on the bag. That is not the amount it lifts. The amount that it lifts is like 1/15 of that. I'm not exactly sure how they come up with the holding force. Maybe that's like in a frictionless, non-gravity environment. I don't know. There's some magical way that they came up with this number, but there's absolutely no way this is going to lift 2.5 kilograms. But it will lift, whatever.
One thing, I was building a marble lifter, and it was possible. It just wasn't going to be good for beginners. And then we started sampling the electromagnets. The video's up on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I was able to pick up one of the little metal pachinko balls, bring that to the top of the maze.
It depends it depends on the size and the shape of the item as well. So now I'm powering it. It's of course electromagnet. It's using current, and you can't hear anything. But now it can lift up stuff quite easily. And then if I release the current, bam, very loud thing drops. So you can use it to pick up and lift.
Is there a current rating for the electromagnet?
There is, and I don't remember it. I think this is about 200 milliamps. It's on the product page.
So on 20.22.
Yeah, it's about 220 milliamps. It's 5 volts. We'll have a couple different sizes for different weights, but it's like you can PWM, but it doesn't really work. You pretty much use electromagnet either on or off. Yep. You just treat it like a motor. It's a coil, so you will need a motor driver, even though it's not moving. It still has the inductive, kickback because it's a coil of wire around a piece of metal. That's how electromagnets are made.
Okay. Next up,
they have this very unusual motor. But I've seen these around. I don't know what it's for. I think it's for a toy of some sort. It's a pager-sized motor with a gear, and then this like triangular piece attached with a spring, and it's a spring-back motor. You can remove the spring, and it's a normal turning. Here I showed it on turning on and off. It is a normal geared-down motor, but it's just kind of an unusual shape and size. So I thought this would be interesting for people to use, and I'll also show it on the overhead because it's quite small. They're low cost. They're rated for 3 volts. You can drive at 5, but just be careful because you have to drive it at 50% duty cycle, or you could damage it. They will melt, as I determined, if you drive them at like 5 volts for forever. So this is it with the plastic piece off, and then inside here, so this is the pager motor. So it's a very small motor. It's got nice long wires, which I like. At least they got that going on. And then here's a gearbox. And then there's a gear, and it's actually quite strong. It's geared down. I guess I should probably figure out what it is, but it's probably about 100 times or so. It's geared down, and it's got little kind of a clover leaf shaped axle, so you can connect stuff to it. And then this is the version as it ships without removing the plastic piece. So what's interesting about this is it's got this plastic piece that moves about 60 degrees in this direction, or this 60 degrees in this direction, and then there's a spring back. So this spring will, if you let go of the power, it'll eventually go back to center. So it's a self-centering motor, and it's designed so even if you're driving it at 3 volts, you don't want to do it forever, but if you drive it, it will stop here, and it's not going to, melt. It'll stall, but it won't damage itself. And so it's kind of an interesting two-use, maybe if there's something where you would normally use a servo, but maybe you want something lower cost, and you just want it to move back and forth, or maybe you want something with pretty high torque, or maybe you just want a very small rotating thing. I don't know. This motor kind of...
For puppetry, for all sorts of organic-y, for art projects, this is really good.
Yeah, it's also, it's extremely small. I mean, compared to most motors, this is a very tiny little device, so it's low current. So I thought this is kind of interesting.
To steer things.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what it's for. I imagine it's for some toy or some small electronic device or something, but I liked it. I like this little motor. It's saying to me.
Miniature sprinklers.
Each to each.
Okay, next up.
This is simple. This is our HTU 21DF humidity temperature sensor. You know and love it. We've had requests for having this pre-soldered, so you can just plug it into a breadboard, and this is what you got. So you can just plug it in, use our Arduino or CircuitPython, Python libraries we just talked about earlier, and you've got a really great humidity temperature sensor. You notice that this sensor has that little white Teflon on the top. It's got a filter on it, so it's a little higher quality than most low-cost humidity sensors. Also means you won't get dirty. Some sensors have an open port and then dust can get in them, but with this one, it's got a Teflon cover on it, so it's a nice sensor. I like it.
Okay. And star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady Ada, and the Adafruit community.
Plug it in. Turn it around.
Bam.
Bam. 32 by 32. So we had our RGB matrix shield that we brought out a couple weeks ago, and people were like, hey, you should have like a feather wing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So this is a feather wing for our M0 and M4 feathers that will let you plug in directly an RGB matrix. You can, I showed it here with the 32 by 32, but you can use it by 32 by 64 or 16 by 32. And here's the thing, you can actually build it 2 ways. So you can see this way, you can plug in the cable on the top. I'll show this over on the overhead as well. But it comes bare, and you get the pieces to build it 2 ways, either so it plugs in the back or it uses a cable. So you have 2 choices of how you want to assemble it. And it's what I thought kind of made this pretty sweet design. So let me bring this out here. Zoom in. Go focus. Okay, so this is one way you can build it, where you build it on the bottom. So you put female headers on the feather wing. Hold on. This is tougher to remove. So many headers. Eek. Okay, so you can build it like this with female headers on the top here, and then we give you this 2x10 connector, and the reason it's 2x10 not 2x8 is so that you can't put it in wrong. It'll fit perfectly into this connector and center itself. Otherwise, it can be off center, which really drives me crazy. And then you can power the matrix through this terminal block here, and then you put 5 volts in here. There's polarity protection and a 3-volt regulator, so you don't have to power the feather separately. So you plug in the feather, and then you plug in the power. So you can see it's got 5 volts, 2 amps. And then all you have to do is find the input port, and then line up the input. Hold on, turn this around. You plug it in, and then it's working. So that's easy. So what's nice is, like, this way you have a single cable, and you don't have to have anything else. There's no cable to this thing, and then of course you can chain more matrices if you want. Or the other way you can assemble this is this style, which is in the photo, where you have this socket cable plug in on the top, and then you have the Featherwing plug in on the side. So you can have the cable come out the top, like shown here, or you can plug it in on the back. So you get the pieces you choose. You are the decider.
You decide.
You decide. Do you want to mention it's for the M0 and M4 feathers only? It'll never work on our 32U4 feathers. They're way too slow. It could possibly work on our NRF52 feathers and Wicked and Teensy. We don't have the code written and ready, but if you are someone who is excited to go through and just make sure that all the pinouts work and what library to use for those platforms, we're a SAMD21, SAMD51 house here. We love those. So for now, I'm just going to say, hey, other platforms, ESP32, you're on your own. You'll have to match the pinout to whatever library you can find that's been written. But M0 and M4 work great, and we've got excellent code for them that's very fast and looks perfect. So this is an excellent way to add our feather wings, our feathers, and of course you can add more feather wings if you like. If you want to display sensor data, you can have the sensor data connected. You can use our Wi-Fi or Bluetooth feathers because the SPI and I2C pins are available. We kind of made it so it doesn't use all the most useful pins. And that's the new products.
And with that, new products.
So many.
Yep.
I'm going to recap though.
Okay, you want to do a recap?
I'm ready.
Yep.
All right, new recap time. We've got silicone wire ribbon cables. You got ribbon cables, but they're used with silicone covered, so they are very heat resistant. They're very durable. They're very flexible. We've got them in 28, 26, 30 gauge, and some in 4 wire and some in 10 wire. We've got these JST to male and female plug headers designed for our feather wings, but you can also, or hallowing, but also useful for other stuff. These are all the photos. We also have a NeoPixel strip, 30 LED NeoPixel strip, also with a JST connector you can plug into our hallowing. We have this interesting snap-on connector for our TT motors that is Lego compatible. We also have an eccentric hub for our TT motors. So if you want cam motion or eccentric motion, plug this on. We have an electromagnet. Pick up things that are metal. You could be like Magneto. 5 volts can pick up about, I think, 100 grams. This interesting motor with like a spring back. It's either plus minus 60 degrees back and forth, or you can remove it and have a purely rotational motion with a gear. A fully assembled HU21DF humidity sensor, temperature sensor, really great sensor now with headers attached already. And our star, the Featherwing RGB matrix adapter. You can either plug into the back or use a cable to attach your Feather M0 M4 to our popular RGB matrices. Make them glow with feather action.
That's it. Okay. Code's Bubbles, don't forget, 10% off the Adafruit store. We'll live till 11:59 p.m. If you haven't already, head over to Discord. We'll be answering questions in just a few minutes, and then we're going to do a trivia question. But for now, we have top secret.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. There's so much going on. Hold on. I got to unplug things.
From the Adafruit Vault.
I got to go fast.
Yep. Well, there's no questions about this, so.
Yeah. Oh, I got a duet.
But what about the duet?
Yeah, what about the duet?
What about the tray coming soon?
The tray coming soon. So the duet. No, sorry. It's the Mega Grand Central. I don't know what we're going to call it.
Yeah.
Let me get in close. We assembled this today. Dean did the layout, and he also did the assembly. You can zoom in. So we've got that 128 pin, 0.4 millimeter pitch, but he did it. TQFP. Probably going to move this SD card slot over here so it's sticking out, and we'll rearrange some of the LEDs. But it boots up. I can show it if we power it up. The NeoPixel will do something ridiculous. Yeah, there you go.
Yay!
Yay, it's red, it's green, it's blue, it's rainbow.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it boots up, and the Arduino at least runs on it, enumerates, bootloader action, and we're going to get this up and running. We're going to get some CircuitPython going. Scott's already called dibs on this one. That's pretty exciting. 1 megabyte of flash, 256K of RAM, 120 megahertz. So powerful. So not a duet. Also, just something that's like, it's like 2 years old or something. I just have to finish this. It's a Radio Fruit using the SAM R21. But I've upgraded, now has the SPI flash and NeoPixel, so it's CircuitPython compatible. And then I did a nice job stitching the ground here with a little cute, launchy 2.4 gigahertz antenna. All right, coming soon.
Okay. All
Back in the
right.
vault.
Yep, back in the vault. That
With
was top
you.
secret. Okay, it's question time. Head over to Discord, and we're gonna answer some questions. Don't forget, it's Adafruit IT.
Discord. Sign up. Join
Yep.
the 8,000 people.
Okay, question. How many of the new LED matrices can you daisy chain together with a Feather M0, M4 before speed degrades too much?
I don't know, actually, but I'm gonna guess it's probably you can do about 32 by 128. I mean, it's not high depth, especially the M4 can definitely do that. The M0, I think 32 by 64 can absolutely do. But maybe it can do like also 32 by 64. It's something that we should probably try, but we just haven't gotten around to doing it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Would the Matrix board work on a Feather Huzzah? It would make a great real-time NFL football game score updater.
There's absolutely not enough pins on the ESP8266. They just don't have enough GPIO to drive these matrices. You probably can do it with the ESP32, but again, you'd have to figure out like what's the pin setup and what library to use.
Yeah. Oh, would it ever be possible to see all 10 colors in silicon wire, like gray, purple, standard resistor codes? Okay.
Yeah, this is what I got so far. I think it would be cool
good
to
idea.
get the rainbow style, but we have to get our victories where we can find them.
It's a good start. Adafruit Black.
Yeah.
Okay. Will the silicone cover stranded core ribbon cable work with IDE connectors?
No idea. That's not, yeah, I mean, like, I think it's a little thicker than most of the PVC coating, so I think probably not. But try it out.
Is Feather enamel pin going to come back? Probably not. It's limited edition. Was.
Limited edition.
What brought you to Discord instead of just using YouTube live chat and Discord in general? Well, good question. So we have 5 different places we stream to. And on Periscope, when the chat's over, it dies. Facebook, there's comments, but after the live video, it's over. YouTube is now starting to save the chat, but it's the live chat, and then you have to find comments. Then there's Twitch. So what we wanted to have is one place where everyone can hang out all the time. So we have almost 8,000 people right now on Discord, and that means 24/7 they can get help together. And it doesn't matter if there's a live video or not. And when we have a live video, this is one of the places that people can post and chat.
yeah,
and
I got a Discord.
there's
all
multiple
the time.
channels, and you
Yeah.
can search. So
And
it's
you can have
basically built
files.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got moderation, it's got files, you can paste into it. It's got GitHub hooks.
Last question,
Epic.
and then we'll do giveaway. The HT16K33 is used a lot. In your product, the chip isn't easily available. Is it possible to sell individual chips?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to see whether we can get them in a way that we can sell them, because they're surface mount, and I kind of shy away from selling surface mount chips. We'll take a look.
Yeah. Okay. That's the questions. Let's do a trivia question.
Trivia
What
question.
do you want to give away this week?
Good, we're an electromagnet.
Electromagnet?
Yeah, because everyone can use electromagnet.
Okay. What are the rules?
Rules are if you've won before, you can't win again. Only one winner per lifetime on this show. My lifetime, not your lifetime. The first person to call the phone number when we show on the screen, and I'm going to say ahoy, ahoy. That's how you know it's me. And then I'm going to ask your name, where you're calling from, and a project you're working on or you want to work on. And if you can answer all that, if you can do all those things, you will win the prize.
Yeah.
You got the phone ready. You got the phone number.
Yeah.
Call this number. The phone lines will be open in a moment.
The lines are open.
I'm going to say ahoy, ahoy.
It's
That's our new thing.
Bitstab is the phone number. And that'll make the phone ring that's underneath here.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Yeah.
And it's with the
So
eyes.
all you have to do is call Bitstab.
Call when it rings.
Let's see. Is there plans for a male 3-pin JST
Oh,
connector?
oh,
I
oh.
was going to ask her. Answer a
No.
question with him. Okay,
Ahoy,
this is
ahoy
what it
time.
looks like.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
You got to answer.
Ahoy, ahoy. Ahoy, ahoy. Ahoy. Can you turn off your computer audio?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Hi, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Chris Romer, and I'm calling from St. Louis.
Okay, Chris from St. Louis. Well,
Won.
congratulations, you're the winner! Yay, you won an electromagnet. That's what everybody wants. What's a project you're working on or you want to work on?
I'm starting to build a MIDI synth, and I want to build a CB out on it.
Oh,
in addition
cool.
To the MIDI out.
All right, well, that's a cool project. People love making CV out stuff. Come by on Discord, because I know that C. Scott and some other people have been working on all sorts of CircuitPython controlled synthesizers and octave voltage converters and all that good stuff. So I'm going to send you out this electromagnet. Maybe you'll find some cool project to do with it. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com, support@adafruit.com, and we will send you out a product number 3872. Just give them that number, and you'll be electromagneting in no time.
Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Chris. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Okay,
The ahoy ahoy is working out. That's good. Good thinking, because now they know it's me.
that's right.
Ahoy.
That was from last week's trivia question where Alexander Graham Bell initially wanted to say ahoy ahoy. And then I showed you a Geico commercial that just happened to be doing the same thing, kind of timely.
And that's amazing.
And they were making fun of a person in a theater from like, a while ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, you must be looking for number 2. I am number 1, because there was only 2 phones.
But
at
what's
the time.
funny is that whoever wrote this commercial was like clearly a historical
They
buff,
knows
and
it- they knows ahoy, ahoy.
they realized that he said ahoy ahoy. That's his thing.
Ahoy, ahoy. Okay, that is the show for tonight, everybody. Thanks so much. Don't forget the code is Bubbles, 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way till 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. It supports us, an open source hardware company in the Lowe's of Venture Capital. We're independent. We're going to keep doing this stuff. We have a live show. Lady A does not have a boss. She likes to do hardware instead. So as long as
I am my own boss, and
Yeah.
believe me, I am the toughest boss on myself.
Yep. So that's why we're able to do this, and we'll do this as long as we possibly can pay the bills. So thank you so much, everybody. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks so much for the Adafruit team members that are here, the remote team members, the entire Adafruit community, everyone in the Discord chat, all the other different chat rooms. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. Here is your moment of Zener.
Good night, folks. Thanks, everybody.